Hello everybody, it's almost the end of the year. Usually by this time at the end of the year, I have gotten to a point in my TBR pile and my Goodreads challenge that at this point I can schedule most of the books or all of the books that I want to read by the end of the year. The first one on my list is A Desolation Called Peace by Arkady Martine. This one I'm actually currently reading, so I absolutely will finish it by the end of the year. It is the sequel to A Memory Called Empire, and it kind of proceeds from A Memory Called Empire. So right now the characters Mahit and Three Seagrass are communicating and trying to make first contact with the alien population that was discovered at the end of A Memory Called Empire. So that one is so good right now. Would recommend. It is so fucking good. The next book on my TBR is Boyfriend Material by Alexis Hall. Boyfriend Material is a book that my sister read a couple weeks ago, and she gave me her copies so that I could read it too. So I'm trying to read this one pretty quickly because she is moving at the end of November. So this one is high on my TBR. She described it as very similar to Red, White, and Royal Blue, where there's an American dude falling in love with a British dude. I don't think either of them are the prince of anything. It just seems like a cute little fucking rom-com, and I'm really excited to read it. Regarding Book of the Month choices, I've scheduled in for December, my crazy fucking calendar. So I've scheduled in Book of the Month as an option for December. For November, I decided to choose Keeper of Night, which is a YA book. It's about this woman who is working for death or is going to work for death and her process in doing that, which just sounds litty titty. So that was a very easy Book of the Month choice for me. I would also like to read Rules of Magic as well as the Book of Magic. So I began this series at the very beginning of the year. I think this was Practical Magic was one of the first books I read this year. And what the fuck? Practical Magic was one of the first books I read this year. And I read Magic Lessons, I think in October. And so I love these books. They're so beautiful, they're so hopeful. Listen, y'all, there's always a second in these books by Alice Hoffman, by the way, where I'm like, wow, this is a little bit slow. And then halfway through, I am so enraptured by the story that by the end I'm crying. It's such an emotional roller coaster every single fucking time. I feel so deeply for this, for the Owens women and for their lives. Next on my TBR, you can tell that it's a close one on my TBR because it is a library book, but is Light from Uncommon Stars by Reika Oki. I hope that I got that right. I found this book, one, because TJ Klune is the blurb on the top, and I trust TJ Klune with my life at this point. Also because apparently it has a trans character in it. And I'm not even gonna lie, that's all it takes for me to pick up a book and put it high on my TBR list. What the fuck is this about? So apparently it's a coffee shop in space, and there's a trans violinist. Boom. Anyway, I hope to read it soon. In November, one of the last books that I was really anticipating for this year comes out, and that is Our Violent Ends, which is the conclusion to our violent delights. So I'm so flipping excited for it. I have it, I'm going to be picking it up when it releases, so I have it scheduled, but I don't have it because it's not flipping out. Next on my list, and I don't think I actually have a copy of this either, is Portrait of a Scotsman. So this is another series that I hope to close out by the end of the year. This is the third installation in a League of Extraordinary Women by Evie Dunmore. And I've already read, this year I read Bringing Down the Duke, as well as A Rogue of One's Own. So I just want to keep reading it. I'm not really a historical romance kind of fella. It isn't usually in my wheelhouse, but like, god fucking damn it, are these books so good. They're so fun. The plots are so beautiful. The romances are just great. Historically, they're very inspired. Like, they reference like actual clothing that people wear. They reference actual people, different like culturally, they're in it, and they're so fucking good. Another book that I hope to read by the end of the year is The Atlas 6. I'm not even gonna lie, this is mainly inspired by how everyone keeps fucking talking about it. So The Atlas 6 is by Olivia Blake, and I recently just picked this one up, but it's essentially about librarians in like a Hunger Games type situation, and I'm into it. It also, when I picked it up, no one fucking mentioned to me in all of these goddamn like booktube reviews that it has like drawings in it. Like, come on, y'all. That was a sweet surprise. We're getting down to the nitty-gritty. We only have 2 more books. I would like to read, and I can't finish this series by the end of the year, but I would like to read the second book in the Rainwild Traders Chronicles by Robin Hobb. I got this book off of Thrift Books, or one of those sites, so it didn't come with a dust jacket, which doesn't really matter because I hate dust jackets. It's Dragon Haven, so it is the sequel to Dragon Keeper. I had initially intended to read this one sooner, but after finishing Dragon Keeper, I wasn't that into it. So my experiences with Robin Hobb have been just this series and the Live Ship Trader series. And mainly I picked up this series next because I wanted to read more Multivestrit. And not that I thought that the first book was bad. Like, all the characters were really good. The plot was interesting. It seemed to really just be prepping you for other books to follow. Like, there was very little plot, but a lot of character development, and it was like 500 pages of character development, which, to be fair, it's a very large cast. However, I do wish that there had actually been like physical movement in the book, because there was really not a lot of it. So I hesitated to pick, I like left Dragon Haven for later in the year because I just wasn't vibing. So hopefully I can read Dragon Haven by the end of the year. The last book I hope to read by the end of the year is The Hod King by Josiah Bancroft. So this is the 3rd books in the Books of Babel series, which has 4 books. And I believe the 4th book comes out this year. But I am on the 3rd one. I love this series. I love it so much. It's exceptionally dense. It is not one of those books that you can just like power through. It takes like time to process, if that makes sense. It is following this character, Tom, who has lost his wife in this gigantic tower of like monstrosity of a tower. And in the first book, he's kind of like climbing the tower, trying to find his wife in one of these levels. And in the second book, he's become a pirate. It's a very speedrun description of what fucking happens. He becomes a pirate and he's trying to climb the tower, and in the process he's figuring out like who made the tower, what the fuck's going on with the tower, and what the fuck's going on with his wife. So I'm just excited to see this man do his thing. And I think that that's probably all I can fit in to the end of the year, but who knows? Maybe I can fit in some more.